G'day everyone. I thought we'd have a look at another camera that's basically going to be announced in the coming days. I think it's only 2 days away that they're saying this is going to be announced. It's the new X-T3. I thought we'd discuss that. It was certainly one camera that I looked at when I shifted from Nikon over to Sony. I did look at moving over to Fuji, but the only thing that sort of held me back at that time was because Fuji never had a full frame camera. It doesn't mean that I don't really like their cameras though. I think the ergonomics particular are really great on these cameras. Just the controls. I love that analog feel, that the way the camera works. They also have wonderful lenses. And I thought before we start that, we might have a look at just the way this camera looks. So these are meant to be the X-T3 images. It looks basically exactly the same as the X-T2 if you're looking at it, but they are really beautiful controls. You can see here that they are very analog in their thinking. You've got your ISO controls over here, your shutter speed here. Here you've got an exposure compensation wheel as well that you've got there that you can use too. So really nice. I mean, everything is tactile about this camera. It seems like it's really nice to use. And when I tried one of these in the shop, the X-T2 anyway, and it was lovely to use. I also like that about my A9 that it has extra controls. But the Fuji have been sort of famous for this all along. So it seems to be like it's a really nice layout. Everything that you need is right there. So that's sort of what the camera looks like. If we look at the back, you'll sort of see here that, let's have a look at the back on this one. Obviously a play button, your delete buttons through here, an AEL. If you've got 2 AEL buttons there, I suppose you can program them to do different things if you want to. It's got a lovely touch screen. I'm not sure whether it's an articulating screen yet. It's hard to tell from that. It looks like it is, but I didn't think I saw anything mentioned about it being an articulating screen. So I don't think it is, looking at the rumors, and we'll look at the specs in a minute talking about that. So let's click over and I'll have a look at the actual specifications that this got, because it actually is quite exciting. They're not saying yet the announcement date, but I believe this is going to be shipping the end of September. So it's meant to be rumoured to be announced, I think, on the 6th, and it's meant to be shipping later this month. So they're all ready to go. It is saying up here that it's the same button layout and form factor as the Fujifilm X-T2. So therefore, yeah, it won't have a fully articulating screen. But let's look at the rumours, because this is the interesting part. They're saying that basically it's the same look as the X-T2, shipping late September. It does have a backside illuminated sensor, so it's definitely a sensor, but it's not a stack sensor. But it is a backside illuminated one, so you will get better ISO and obviously performance out of this. Now, this is the interesting part. It's actually saying that you can do 30 frames per second in 1.25 crop mode, and that's obviously electronic shutter. 20 frames per second in full frame sensor readout, so it's matching what the A9 has. So again, this is going to be a great sports camera, I think. 11 frames per second in mechanical shutter. It does have an exposure compensation dial. Like I said, they've added that now. There's a headphone jack, no selfie screen, so it looks like it doesn't do the articulation, which is a pity. Phase detection coverage on entire sensor. It's saying that it's going to have improved face detection and eye detection. 225 AF points available in AFC. Improved low light focus. Now, this is amazing if this is true, because they're saying the video specs on this camera are 4K 60p. It's going to have zebras and 10-bit, but it does say I'm still verifying whether they have 10-bit on this camera. No new film simulation, so that's just the same. Base ISO of 160. I think it was 200 before. I could be wrong, but I think they've improved that. But it is going to cost less than the X-T2. They're saying that it's going to be less than that, so that is incredible. Less than 1,599. And as before, 20 frames per second continuous shooting, and even higher in crop mode. It is going to come with a new vertical battery grip. Announced before Photo Kina, so like I've said, I've heard that this is going to be announced on the 6th of September and released later this month. And it's going to be 26 megapixel sensor. So it is a new processor. But the interesting thing is saying it's got no IBIS, and that's interesting considering that they've put this at 4K 60p. but they've got no IBIS in their camera, so that's a bit of a shame. It's something I think's lacking. You Fuji people that watch this, let me know whether you think that is an issue. It's not an issue probably for the stills, but it certainly would be an issue for video. It would make hand holding for video way better. Touchscreen, and I think the touchscreens on these are quite good. Better battery performance as well. Now they're really interesting specs, particularly the fact that it's saying it's going to have 4K 60p and 30 frames with that 1.25 crop, and 20 frames if you want the full sensor readout. So like I said, it's matching what the A9 has, and in some ways this is a fantastic video camera as well, because you've got the 4K 60p according to this, which no Sony camera has got yet at that range. So it is going to be really interesting to see how this goes. And I think, obviously, I mean, I'm a Sony user, so Sony are going to have to answer this with something like a new A7000. Particularly, this may be the thing that pushes Sony to do that. I'm really happy for you Fuji users. It looks like Fuji are really looking after you, and these are really nice specs. It'll have dual card slots, obviously. The only thing I think it's missing is that stabilization, the IBIS. That's the only thing that, looking at that it seems to be missing. Overall, I think you guys should be happy. You may have the announcement of Photokina looking at this. It's a really good announcement. Sony aren't making an announcement at Photokina apparently. So this could be the announcement for you. Anyway, let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. I think it's a really great release, and congratulations. And that's all for now. Bye.